Hello students. So today we are going to check or learn about listening comprehension. Let's see what we have for listening comprehension. We have something called as the formal conversation and informal conversation. Okay. In formal conversation, as the word suggests, formal, it is official. Okay. Anything that is related official, like it can be a meeting, it can be an interview, or anything that is occurred in a corporate field, which is more professional, we call it as formal conversation. Whereas informal conversation, the instances can be anything. It can be, as the picture denotes here, it can be a dating, it can be a small family get together, or you're just chit chatting with your friends or your family or relatives. Any informal conversation comes under this category. Okay, and let's see like what is the major difference between informal and formal language. Let's see the phone conversation, formal and informal. So when you're in an office, when it is in an office environment or a corporate office, let's see what all kind of languages that we use. Like we say in the morning, like good morning, and when you're introducing yourself, you can say this is Jesse Francis speaking. You could say, could I speak to Mr. So-and-so? Tell the person's name and then use the word please. I'm trying to contact Mr. So-and-so. Again, you need to say Mr. or Miss and tell the name accordingly. I'm calling on behalf of my boss. You can say that. Yeah, you're calling on behalf of your friend or your colleague or your boss. So you need to mention that. Again, you can introduce yourself saying that I'm Miss Jessie speaking. How may I help you? And in other formal conversation, you can say that, may I ask who's calling, please, to note down like who the other person is. And you can say that, could I speak to someone who is more responsible? Yeah, when somebody at the other line is picking up the call, and that may be a receptionist who is not able to answer what your queries are. So in that case, you can ask for the more responsible person, maybe the executive or manager that you need to talk to. Then you can say that I would like to make a reservation, please. These are formal conversations when you make reservations for your restaurant seats, or you can say for your flight tickets or your train tickets. When you talk to the travel agents, this is a formal way or requesting way of asking for your reservations to be done. Could you hold on a moment, please? Like suddenly you are on the call and then you have another call attending, or you have another person coming and talking to you. You can say the other person to hold on for a moment, and these are the words you got to use for that. And if somebody's at the other end, somebody is asking you for the person who's not there in the office on that particular day, the person is absent. So you can say that I'm sorry, he is out of office today. Yeah, and the other way of saying is like, I'm afraid my English isn't very strong. Could you speak slowly, please? If the other person's accent is not understandable, you can use these words in a more formal way to make it very pleasant. And can I leave a message, please? This is a message for somebody else, okay, and that person is not on his desk, and you collect the message for the other person, and these are the words generally used for that. And a formal way of ending a call is always say a thank you for calling. Yeah, these are general normal way of formal conversations which are generally done in offices, corporates, and most of the professional places. Whereas informal in the sense, as I already told you, it can be with your friends, relative, family, or casual, anybody, even the shopkeeper. You can talk to the shopkeepers or this way. There is no very formal conversation required, but definitely it needs to be polite. Okay, so you can say, hi, it's me here. Yeah, so when you say me, it's understood that who the other person is talking to. Is so and so person there? You can just tell the name. You don't have to refer it by Mr. or Ms. You can say, is John there? You can simply ask for that. And then you have instances, I'm in the post office at the moment and I just needed so and so. That is, you're talking to somebody else, whereas you are located at the post office and you're asking for some information, maybe from your family or your somebody at home. Hello, it's John's phone. That is, it's not your phone that you're answering. You have taken your friend's or your brother's phone, and you're attending on that. You can say that. And who is it? Like very casually, you can ask. It will not be considered as indecent. You can, when it's informal, you can, if you don't know the other person's name, who the person is calling, you can ask who is it. And if you want the other person to hold on, you can say just a minute or just a moment. and okay, wait a moment please. So yeah, even in informal, try using the word please to keep it more polite, right? So you can say John is out at the moment, and you can also say that sorry I didn't catch that, meaning like the other person was trying to convey something and it was not audible, or you didn't understand what exactly the other person was meaning. So you can use these kind of words. I didn't catch that, right? I can't hear you very well. Okay, very clearly you can say, whereas informal you can't say that, right? So informal you can very well say that I can't hear you very well, please be louder, please be clearer, or whatsoever. I'll ask him to ring you when he gets back. Probably somebody's calling up to find out when your father is coming or your brother is coming. You can just call up and tell the other person that the message will be passed on to the concerned person, and the person will call back. I let know that you rang. Okay, here again the person is not at home and you're conveying the message saying that so and so person had called up and you had missed the call. Yeah, and yeah, you can say bye, you can say talk soon. Yeah, that's a way of ending the conversation, and speak to you again soon. All these are very casual, informal. There's no hard and fast rule for that. A few more tips for you all. When it's an office environment, you can say that how do you do, a very decent way of asking. And when it's a informal, when you're talking to your buddy, when you're talking to your friend and you meet him in the morning, you say what's up. Yeah. And in the official professional way, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a beautiful way of greeting somebody. And informal, you say nice to meet you. Okay, but even nice to meet you can be considered as formal nowadays. And another instance is at your earliest convenience. Like you ask somebody to do something, or somebody is requesting you to do something, you can say I can do that at your or no, it's the other way around. If somebody is asking that what time the agenda is required or the meeting agenda is required, you can always say that at your earliest convenience, when it is not urgent, right? Whereas informal way, you can say as soon as you can. The meaning can change here, right? So when I say as soon as you can, is meaning is like maybe urgently it is required. But when you say in a formal way, at your earliest convenient, you are indirectly telling the person that it is required, but probably you can take your time, but it is required a little bit earliest. Yeah, at your earliest convenience. So you are using the word earliest, expecting that the sooner the better. Yeah. Concerned about you. This is a casual way about saying, suppose somebody is on leave and the person has turned up the next day, and you say that I was concerned about you. Whereas informal, you can say it as I was worried about you. Yeah. And informal, whenever you have to point out points, or you have to jot out points, you can always say firstly so and so, then secondly so and so. You can keep it in a formal way. Whereas in informal, you can say to start with, or for a start, this is what we're going to do in the meeting, or you can say that way. Very casual talks you can use. And informal, we can say give my regards to so and so person. Yeah. Suppose the colleague has come with a friend, and then you need to talk about, you're talking about the other friend, so you can say the message here like give my regards to so and so person. Whereas informal, you can say hello to your brother, your sister, your friend, whatsoever. Have you heard from her lately? That is a very formal way of asking. Whereas informally, you say heard from her lately. Asking a question. That is heard from you lately. In a very question interrogative tone, you can ask that person. Have you seen Tom? Okay. Formal. It can more formal be have you seen Mr. Tom? Whereas informal can be like seen Tom. Yeah. And I agree with my colleague Anna that so and so, you tell the point. Whereas informally, you just say that Anna's right. And one more example is as per our telephone conversation on today's date, so and so happened. Okay, you need to give a reference from where you're picking up the conversation, where you're continuing the conversation. Whereas informal, you can just tell as we discussed this morning. You again refer, but you need to tell it in a very casual manner. So these are just a few tips that are given to you how to converse. And as I said again, by listening, when you're listening comprehensions, you will be given passages, right? And uh, you'll be having what you call questions based on those audios to check whether you understood the conversation, if you understood whether the conversation was formal, informal, and what are they trying to say, what is the other person trying to comprehend. So based on your listening skills, you'll be having audios and followed by questions in your grad res. You need to do that as well. Okay, so listening, it's a two-way thing. You need to be speaking also, and you need to be listening also. That's the reason we have shown you the difference between both formal and informal. Thank you.